Hi, welcome to Talking with Veronica. Today I'm going to be looking at a Am I the Asshole post that was recently sent to me. So I'm really excited about that. But before we dive in, just a real quick disclaimer. Just because I'm a licensed therapist doesn't mean that I'm your therapist. These videos are just for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm just here offering a perspective based off of like the limited information that is available in the post. I don't know you, I don't know your family, I don't know your situation or your dynamic. So I'm not providing any therapy, diagnoses, or any professional advice. So any questions on that, just read the disclaimer in the comments below. So let's get started. I'm just going to read what this person wrote. What is written is not my own beliefs either. So it says, am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law she can wear the dress or get out of the wedding? I'm getting married in a few months, and bridesmaid dress shopping has been a nightmare. Usually always is. Everyone is a different body type and has different ideas on what they want to wear. The main issue is my sister-in-law, Jen. The issue with Jen is that she's super insecure about her weight because she is fat. This has made dress shopping a nightmare. We have gone to multiple dress stores, and I've even tried to do those dresses that can be styled in multiple ways. She claims that the color washes her out. The main reason she is a bridesmaid is because she is the only younger woman in my future husband's side, and everyone else in his family has a role in it, and it seemed rude to not include her. For example, his two brothers are groomsmen, his niece is the flower girl, the nephew is the ring bearer, his mom and dad are doing a speech, and I am close to his other sister, so she's also a bridesmaid. I recently did a poll asking my bridesmaids if they wanted me to pay for the dresses and have no say, or they can have their own dresses, but they have to pay for them and they have to be blue. Everyone chose to have me pay for the dresses. That includes Jen. I picked a long blue dress that is off the shoulder. I got a call from Jen and she didn't like the dress. She told me it draws too much attention to her arms, and she asked me to pick another one, and I told her no. So we got into an argument, and I told her that she will wear the dress or she's out of the wedding. I also pointed out that she picked the option for not paying, and then she called me a jerk, and my mother-in-law is now up my ass about it. Edits, okay? This isn't about her being fat. There are two other bridesmaids her size or heavier, but they aren't causing me issues with the dress. It's about her being a pain in the ass about wearing a dress for a night after going to multiple shops and literally giving so many options before my poll. And then she agrees she doesn't need me to pay for the dress, and I still get a damn call about the dress. So there's a couple different things that stand out to me after reading this post. First off, it seems like the issue is no longer the dress, although it is the dress. So hear me out a little bit. On the surface, it seems like they're arguing about this bridesmaid dress, but at the end of the day, I don't really think it's about the dress. So from the bride's perspective, it sounds like they have gone to multiple stores, they have bent backwards, they're trying different styles, they're trying to consider all the different body types of their bridesmaids, and they're offering a lot of different choices. And now we're at the point where it's crunch time, a decision has to be made of some sort. And we're moving from gathering information and gathering everyone's points of view to, yeah, you got to choose because you're getting married soon and everyone needs to order this stuff in advance. So I can understand why the bride is pretty pissed off at this point because she's trying to take everyone's perspective into consideration. She's trying to hear people out and make sure everyone's happy. And it's frustrating when not everyone can agree on something. And with that said, I can also understand Jen's point of view of not feeling like comfortable or like confident in what she's wearing. So when we look at things like confidence, self-esteem, or insecurities, body image, a lot of that is based around like what a person is exposed to when they were younger, if they were bullied, who they looked up to. I mean, if we even look at like what we see in movie stars, like weight could be something that causes someone to feel a little anxious and be treated differently. And so she's might be experiencing like some of this stuff from her own life and past experiences that could be contributing to her having more stress around wedding and more stress around being an active part in picking a dress. So even though you might look at her and be like, oh yeah, she's fine, like, I don't think it looks bad, she actually looks nice in that, she might actually not feel that way. So when you notice, when the writer was talking about changing out the dress and stuff, it didn't matter what color the dress was, or what cut was, or sleeves or no sleeves, or the different styles that you could wear a dress. It really didn't matter, because the insecurity is the insecurity, and there's really only so much you can do if that is how a person sees themselves. So when all is said and done, if this person, Jen, doesn't go to counseling and get their own support for handling that specific thing that they got going on inside of them, it doesn't matter what dress you put her in, she's going to feel insecure and uncomfortable. So hearing the story, it sounds like both people are feeling really unheard and frustrated at this point. On one hand, you have this bride that is bending over backwards just to make everyone happy. And on the other hand, you have Jen, who feels like her feelings are being completely dismissed. So basically, two different people have two different points of views, and both people are disappointed. I mean, if I was the bride, I'd be pretty freaking pissed at this point. If I had taken someone to like all the different shops and bent over backwards and even offered to pay, and it still just doesn't feel like I'm doing enough and there's nothing that I can do. And now on top of that, I have this big conflict that is now bled into the other parts of the family, where people are coming at me and they're saying, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And it's just overwhelming at this point. And then if I was Jen, I'd be really pissed off if someone was going to be putting me in this frumpy ass dress that highlighted all my insecurities. I mean, there's like family photos, there's recordings, like wedding stuff is like solidified forever, and like all of these photo albums and stuff. So looking back, you want to feel kind of nice in these photos. Both people are super overwhelmed. One's just overwhelmed and insecure about their body, and the other one sounds like she might have a hard time advocating for what she actually wants and her own preferences, and is having some difficulty setting some boundaries and actually saying no. So from reading this post, it's pretty obvious that both Jen and the writer are adults, which means that they're responsible for their own emotions. And that means sometimes we have to sit with our own disappointment. We can't always make people happy, and also you can't always get what you want. And even with that, weddings are super stressful and the struggle is real. I remember like when I was planning mine out, the night of the rehearsal dinner, I went and army crawled underneath one of the tables that had the tablecloth on top, just to hide from the amount of people that were asking me questions, and they wanted to share their ideas and they wanted to do it their way. And I was just like, I don't care how it's done. And I went and hid under my table and I was like, this is insane. This is too much. So I do get not wanting to deal with other people's shit. And at the end of the day, I remember someone giving me advice, which was super helpful. And they were like, hey, when the day is over, you guys are going to be married. That's the only thing that matters, right? That's the only reason why all of us are gathered here today, is to witness you getting married. And for me, that was really helpful because I just want to make everyone happy. I just wanted everyone to get along and have a good memory and a good moment. And then I realized something. It's not my job to make sure everyone's happy, because that is an impossible task. And as soon as I started to accept that, the load got lighter. And I was able to actually focus more on myself and enjoying this moment than all the other things that other people wanted me to focus on, because they had their own preferences, even though it wasn't even their day. So if that's one thing that I found helpful, was just letting go of the things that I can't control and just focusing on the things that I could. So one phrase that stood out to me and caught my attention was like, wear the dress or get out of the wedding. I was like, whew. But there's a difference between setting a clear boundary and then also like making someone feel unwanted. And it sounds like, reading from what this person wrote, they did want to include this person. Now, I don't know if they verbally told Jen that, or if Jen needs to hear that, or maybe it doesn't matter at all, but how you set a boundary and that tone can really impact the relationship between two people. There are a lot of different ways to deliver a message and to set a boundary. So, for example, wear the dress or get out of the wedding sounds very different from like, hey, I noticed that every dress that we've tried on, you kind of criticized your body, even when everyone thought that you did look pretty good in it. And so I'm really trying to be flexible, but now we've had even a vote and we all kind of agreed that like, because I'm paying for these dresses, I'm going to be the one that has the final say. And also I'm getting married, so like I really want this wedding to look a certain way. Like I'm hearing you're saying you're not comfortable in a lot of these dresses, and this is the one that I'm going with and I'm paying for. So I understand if you don't want to wear it, that's okay. But if you want to be in the wedding, then this is what you'd need to wear to be in the wedding. If you're not comfortable and you don't want to wear it, I understand. But at the same time, if you're going to be in the wedding as a bridesmaid, all of the dresses look the same, so you'd have to wear this. So ultimately, it's your choice if you want to be in the wedding as a bridesmaid or not. I completely respect that, but this is something that I need if you're going to be a bridesmaid. So if this dress is a make or break, like I do want you to be in the wedding, so maybe instead of you being a bridesmaid, we can look at you doing some other role or a speech, and you could wear whatever you want in that capacity. So ultimately, this is something that I decided, and it's not really up for debate. And so if you want to be in the wedding, this is where the decision stands. And if you don't, like, I can also respect that too. As far as extended family members go, like I remember having to share this in my situation where it was like, hey, thank you for your input. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. I've already made this decision, but this is where I'm standing and I'm not changing my mind on that. And if you keep bringing this up, I'm just going to divert the conversation, or I'm going to hang up the phone. And then you can call me back another time and we can talk about other things. But this decision has been made, and this is where it's going to be. So if I was going to say like one thing to this writer, it would be like, this is your wedding day. This is supposed to be about you, not about anybody else other than you and your partner. So stop trying to please everybody, because you're not going to be able to. And even if you do manage to make everyone else happy, you're going to be unhappy because it's not what you want. So just focus on making this day something special that you can look back on and smile, instead of looking back on and say, I wish I chose these dresses, or I wish I'd done this differently. Everyone's an adult here. Everyone has to be responsible for their own feelings about things. And so like, do what you want, and they're going to feel however way they want to feel about it. You cannot make everyone happy. And the faster you learn that, the more that you're going to be able to feel comfortable setting boundaries, the more you're going to be able to communicate your preferences. Like, that's what this is. This is a preference thing. And you are allowed to have a preference, especially when it comes to something like your wedding. So the real question isn't who the asshole is in this situation. The real question is how is this going to look after you guys get married? Like, if you're going to only see them once a year for Christmas or Thanksgiving, that's one thing. But if they're going to be an active part of your life and you're going to be constantly in connection with this person, then like, that is another factor to take into consideration altogether. But a relationship shouldn't break just because a boundary is set. However, it's also important how you're setting that boundary. Not everyone's going to agree with it. And that's also in their wheelhouse to deal with their own emotions. I think this writer should do what they want and what they feel comfortable with, because I hear them putting everyone else's emotions forward, but I'm not really hearing like them taking into consideration like what their preferences are for their special day. All in all, those are my thoughts, and I hope that the writer of this post has a wonderful wedding and that they're able to work everything out with their family and focus on what's important. And that also brings me up to my next question. So I'm really curious, for everyone that watched and stayed to the end, what would you do if you were her? Would you let Jen wear the dress, or would you stand firm on the boundary? Comment your answer below, and let's see what everybody has to say about it. So if you found this video like helpful or entertaining, please remember to like, subscribe, share, and save. I'm going to be doing more videos like this in the future, and all the support helps. So I will see you in my next video, and I hope you guys have a great one.